everybody. My name is Madam Truecrime.
And I'm Truecrime Diva.
And welcome to True Crime and Wine. So today's wine we have today, what's we got? Stutter Home Peach Tea and Wine Cocktail. Black tea with peach, deliciously sweet wine blended with real tea. Is it the wine?
Yep.
Mom, you picked out this wine, didn't you?
I sure did. It looked interesting. I'm kind of a wine connoisseur. My favorite is rosé, but we're really not here to talk about that. But yeah, this is what we're drinking today, and welcome to our channel.
Yay! So today, not really a guest. My mom decided to join me on my YouTube channel, our journey together, and I kind of left her out of the Brittany Locklear case, and she's still a little salty about that. But today, this is my mom, Truecrime Diva. Mom, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us a little about yourself, or tell our viewers a little about yourself.
Okay. Well, we kind of always talk about different cases, and the last week's case that Madam Truecrime mentioned was a case that we've always talked about for years, and it kind of hit close to home for me at the time. So we just decided that we wanted to have our viewers join in on the conversations of future cases that we'll be doing. A new one we'll be presenting today, and have people just join in the conversation. We may, at the end of the day, maybe be able to solve some of these crimes that have gone on unsolved over a period of time. So we welcome you all, and thank you for joining us this morning. And please, if you like, we don't know what time it is out there when this is being viewed, but have a cocktail, the cocktail of your choice, and join in, add the comments, subscribe,
Like and subscribe.
and let's dig into it.
Let's get into it. All right, so today's case we're going to talk about, I was on Facebook maybe last week, and one of my friends brought this case up, or shared it on her Facebook, and I didn't realize how much time has lapsed with this case. I think it's going on either back when she shared the original post was 10 years ago, so now we're talking about going on 12 years. And this case, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comment nicely, I think it happened around the time Trayvon Martin's trial was going on, or after the trial. So with everything that was going on, protests and all that. So today's case, we're going to talk about Kendrick Johnson. And I'm pretty sure y'all are aware of who Kendrick Johnson is, and I'm pretty familiar with the case. Now before we get started, all the sources I got gathered will be down in the comments below, in the description, well not comments, but the description box below, and y'all can read on the sources. I may leave out some stuff, but this is where I got my information from, and all this stuff is allegedly. That's gonna be our word on our YouTube and hopefully podcast, allegedly. So let's get into it. All right. Kendrick Johnson was born on October 10th, 1995, was only 17 years old when he passed away. The last time Kendrick was seen was on January 10th, 2013 at 1:27 p.m. entering the old gym at Laudos High School in Valdosta, Georgia. At the time, the high school had two gyms, an old gym and a new gym. The old gym became the main storage area for oversized wrestling mats. According to surveillance footage, shows a student entered the old gym before Kendrick did, as seen above our heads, me and my mom's heads. But the student that was with Kendrick did confirm they were going to class. Kendrick is seen walking on the right side of the gym where the mats are located, which is out of frame as you guys can see above our heads. Reviewing the surveillance footage, no one is seen following Kendrick around the same time. The Laudos High School wrestling team was heading to Macon, Georgia with 25 wrestlers for a tournament on January 11, 2013 at 12:03 a.m. Jackie Johnson, which is Kendrick's mom, reported her son missing after he didn't return home from school that evening. Now I'm going to pause here. Kendrick was a very active student. He did wrestling, basketball, and football, I think. So he was a very active student, very well liked by his friends and peers. I think his teachers said he was a good student. So that's just a little background. Well, on January 11, 2013, Kendrick was found deceased in Mendoza at his high school gym, Mendoza's high school. His body was rolled up in a gym mat that was standing vertical inside of his school gym after friends and family were searching for him for almost a full day. When he was found, one arm was stretched out and the other arm was by his side. Police officials believe that he was reaching into the gym mat for one of his shoes. He was found with no shoes on, but the shoe was found in the gym in a pool of Kendrick's blood. But the shoe itself did not have blood on it. Georgia Bureau of Investigation concluded that the cause of death was asphyxiation, which is suffocation for the folks at home, if y'all did not know what asphyxiation was. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. The Loudoun County investigators ruled Kendrick's passing as an accident within less than 24 hours. The police closed Kendrick's case, ruling it an accident. And of course they did.
I'd like to jump in on this particular statement. It's kind of funny how they just quickly ruled it was an accident, and it seems like they rushed to close the case. And as you'll see moving forward, as Madam Truecrime Diva, Madam Truecrime will share with you, there's just a lot of questions about this case, and then going forward you'll see or have questions as to why they were in a rush to close it so quickly.
All right, let's get back into it. The theory is, several students confirm this, it's typical for students to keep their shoes behind and under a rolled up mat. One student stated that he and Kendrick shared a pair of Adidas, and at the end of the gym class, Kendrick would always toss the shoes into the hole in the middle of the mat. That's why Johnson was found with no shoes on. Look above my head for the picture, how he was found. However, his family believes something isn't right and very displeased with the official investigation. His father stated Kendrick would not have been able to squeeze himself into a gym mat, and they do not believe he was reaching for his shoes, a picture above, because his father does demonstrate crawls into the gym mat. They also believe Kendrick's body was moved after he passed. A hoodie and another pair of shoes were found on the floor inside of the gym. There was blood on the wall where Kendrick was found as well. Kendrick's family still didn't back down. They hired their own autopsy, if you want to say autopsy place, which is William R. Anderson of Forensic Dimensions, I think that's how you say it, to conduct an independent autopsy later that year in June. Well, you guys, you'll never believe what they found. Kendrick suffered a hemorrhage on the right side of his neck, meaning Kendrick sustained blood force trauma to the right of his neck and soft tissues. In case some of you guys did not know or don't work in the medical field, what a hemorrhage is a release of blood from a blood broken vessel, either inside or outside the hemorrhage. Either inside or outside the body. Hemorrhage is a loss of blood from a damaged blood vessel. It can be minor, such as a bruise, or major, such as damage to an internal organ, in case you guys did not know that. The end of forensics concluded that this was enough to imply Kendrick's death was no accident. Now we're going to pause here because I was going to include how Kendrick was found, what his face looked like, but I'll put that in the comments or description box below the channel, or the video rather. And how Kendrick's face looked, it was really swollen. Like his lips was like, I guess the way his lips was swollen, poked out, his face was swollen. I mean, I'm no nurse or doctor rather, and I do work in the medical field. I'll give you a background. I started in the emergency room and worked in the ICU floors. But asphyxiation doesn't cause that when you die of suffocation. So, and Kendrick looked like he was beat up. And like I said, if y'all want to view the picture will be in the description box below. You want to have anything you want to add?
Yes, ma'am. True crime. I also want to mention backtrack. The blood on the wall. Now, they mentioned that there was no conclusive, they didn't know who the blood on the wall belonged to, which I find rather concerning because how come no other DNA was tested to see who the blood possibly belonged to? And there'll be more information coming forward when Madam True Crime continues. And it's just kind of, a lot of things are just kind of disturbing about this case, how they abruptly tried to close it so quickly. And then after doing further investigation, once the parents of Mr. Johnson, may he rest in peace, pursued this to have his son, murder solved, it's more and more information comes out. And you'll even find that there's a lot of questions involved. So continue.
After everything was done with the private pathologist, Johnson's family came out publicly that Kendrick had been murdered. On October 31st, 2013, U.S. Attorney Michael J. Moore stated that his office was going to review into Johnson's suspicious death. Now, this is where we're going to get into some things, you guys. Basically, with this case, it's more of lawsuits, trying to get the case back open. You're going to see some suspects. You're going to see a lot of things into this case. And some more evidence did come out, too, with this case, when I did my research.
I also wanted to chime in, I'm sorry to interrupt, about how his face, as Madam True Crime mentioned, his face was swollen. It looked like he was beat up. And is it possible, this is just my theory or our theory that we've discussed offline, is it possible that he was beat up? Unfortunately, the alleged suspect allegedly, once they found that they were unable to do what they were planning to do, then that's when he was strangled, is what our thoughts were.
Johnson's family, so we're going to get back into it. Johnson's family filed a legal action to open a coroner's inquest. Well, the decision in that case got delayed. Why is it delayed, Madam True Crime and True Crime Diva? I'm glad you guys asked. The U.S. attorney,
We apologize.
we apologize.
For the background noise.
We have 2 dogs, and they like to bark at things that's not even there. The U.S. attorneys had to review everything. Johnson's family refused to back down. They turned to Georgia's former governor, Nathan Deal, to demand he authorize immediate inquiry. His family organized a rally with the NAACP, civil rights activists, and that's when Deal released a statement saying that the inquiry would wait until the U.S. attorney filed a report. On November of 2013, this is where things, you guys, get very, very interesting with this case. Very. So there was 290 hours of surveillance footage collected from 35 cameras, which was aimed towards the high school gym area. The tapes were released to CNN following a court request, and with the help of a forensic analyst. This is where it gets really good, you guys. It turns out the footage was missing from 2 different cameras that covered a time period of 1 hour and 5 minutes. I know that's right? There's more. There were 2 more cameras that were found missing footage that lasted 2 hours and 10 minutes. The last was allegedly the result of an out-of-sync camera system. Really? An out-of-sync camera system, that's all y'all got? And an untriggered motion activated function. The area in which Johnson's body was found happened to be out of range of all the surveillance cameras. So we're gonna pause right here because me and my mom was discussing this, reviewing the notes and all the rehearsing. I brought up a point. Have y'all ever noticed with some of these cases, especially when it involves either apartments or leaving a grocery store or anything that involves murder or anything, And they always want to look at the surveillance footage or cameras. And what do they always say? Oh, the cameras were down for upgrade or update, or the camera was down.
Working
for
whatever reason.
That too.
It wasn't recording. There's always, even the police, what the police wear now?
Oh, the body cameras.
Yeah, the body cameras. A lot of these high-profile police cases, it's kind of funny that they never have the body cameras are not working or wasn't activated.
It's really it's always, I always find
It's
that.
very convenient.
Or when the cameras are working, it's always blurry.
You don't have a clear footage.
A clear footage of the perpetrator. Imagine that. Especially with technology now. So, that's just my tidbit.
It's food for thought.
Just think about it. Johnson refused to believe these gaps were coincidence. Attorneys and the family believe that the camera footage could have been edited as part of a cover-up. Since Kendrick's death, his family has taken several legal actions. One lawsuit was a case for wrongful death against the Loudoun County Board of Education, its superintendent, and the high school principal. The lawsuit stayed away from naming the perpetrators in Johnson's alleged murder. It did imply that this hypo-ethnic assault may have been racial motivations. Here where it gets interesting, it gets more interesting. The lawsuit claimed that the defendants in the case had been neglected in honoring Johnson's constitutional right to equal protection based on race. So, apparently reading through the articles, you guys, and going through some more articles, I found Kendrick was being harassed and attacked by a white student, or Caucasian, for YouTube purposes, Caucasian student, including an attack from the previous year that took place during a bus trip. Allegedly.
Always got to say allegedly.
Always got to say allegedly. Getting deeper into the lawsuit, it went on and stated that another student had routinely attacked and provoked Johnson on school premises, and even within the presence of the coaching staff and employees. The student claimed also that the school officials were responsible for the fact that the activities of the student were not properly monitored within the areas of the campus. Allegedly. Then, y'all, there were some more lawsuits filed. But this lawsuit didn't come from Johnson's family. You want to know who it came from? This lawsuit was filed against Ebony Magazine. And I know y'all familiar with Ebony Magazine, especially in the African American community. Y'all know what Ebony Magazine is. Back in August 2014, in their publications of a series of articles which named 2 students as potential suspects in the death of Kendrick Johnson, the magazine did describe the 2 boys. However, they did not mention their names, but the descriptions of them were very accurate. And here's where it gets very interesting, you guys. You might want to get a glass of wine for this. They were sons of an FBI agent.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Mic drop. I wonder if I can put that in the video. Drop mic drop. Boom. Boom. So, apparently someone anonymously sent an email to Ebony from the sheriff's office. The lawsuit asked for $5 million. The family of the accused stated that not only were their sons innocent, they were not suspected by law officials, and they also received a lot of harassment since the article's publication. I don't know where it stands. They never said if they got awarded the money or anything, but I find it very, very interesting.
Very interesting.
And shout out to Ebony Magazine. And also, I can't mention the victim's name. I don't know if I can, but I'll say this much. It's all over. If y'all want to Google Kendrick Johnson's suspects. You didn't hear me say that. The lawsuit claims that the FBI agent ordered his 2 sons and an additional classmate to attack Johnson, resulting in his murder, and that the respondents engaged in a conspiracy to cover up the truth, which would make sense with the cameras, because FBI agents, as you guys know, I don't know if y'all ever watch FBI shows or even watch that series Quantico, which is a very good series, by the way. but it talks about how they're trained to do certain things we can't do. Let's leave it like that.
It's just not a coincidence that those cameras just didn't pick up any of the footage. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm. The Loudoun County Attorney Jimmy Elliott called such allegations unfounded and baseless. Well, guess what? The case could not be filed or heard in Loudoun County, as all local Superior Court judges had to take themselves out of the case because they knew the victims' families. What? Yeah.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest.
I told y'all there was just stay tuned.
The lawsuit claimed that the FBI agent, I read that already. That's the edit part. On November 2015, the U.S. Attorney claimed that allowing evidence discovery in the civil suit would be detrimental to the federal investigation, which had also expanded to examine potential obstruction and grand jury witness tampering. The motion was denied. Johnson's parents then decided to dismiss their wrongful death lawsuit, which intentions to rifle following the conclusion of the federal investigation. However, Johnson's family ended up getting sued for both attorney's fees and defamation damages.
Crazy.
Yeah. Almost a year later, June 2016, the Department of Justice came out with a statement. They were not going to file any criminal charges for Johnson's death. They stated that there were no insignificant evidence to prove that a federal crime was committed. Then June 2018, Kendrick Johnson's family requested that his body be exhumed again. The second time, permission was granted by the city. The case was officially reopened on March 10, 2021. Loudoun County Sheriff Ashley Polk stated his refusal to say there was any error in the investigation or the investigation conclusion. He asserts his lack of belief in the homicide theory, and furthermore insists the two brothers previously accused by the Johnson family were no way suspects. And I'm going to get into something, I'm going to say something. So, when Kendrick's body, the police sheriff, when they found his body, they did their own exhuming of the body, and that's when it was ruled out he died of suffocation. His family reviewed his body a second time. And that's when it came out that he died of blunt force trauma. I'm trying to figure out how is that possible, because how come y'all did not see that kid, how that kid's face looked? And like I said, y'all look at that picture below. That kid looked like he got beat up and put through the ringer, man.
I can answer that question. It sounds like something is very, very fishy going on, because the investigators, the FBI, had their own party do that toxicology report versus the family getting their own party to do the autopsy, and then the conclusion was something totally different, which sounds very, very suspicious to me, to us, and I'm sure to you and the viewers and people who have followed the case. And when you go back to the very beginning of our YouTube, when how quickly they were rushing to close the case, and there was a reason for that, we believe.
Allegedly. And here's something interesting. So, I left out a part. Johnson's family filed another lawsuit in 2015 requesting $100 million and a civil lawsuit against 38 individuals in an alleged conspiracy to cover up Kendrick Johnson's alleged homicide. Who was in the lawsuit? You guys are wondering. The names included were 3 of Johnson's classmates, the local, state, and federal office officials, including the school superintendent of Loudoun County, the Loudon Crime Lab, where his body the first autopsy took place, the Loudon police chief, several sheriff's deputies, the city of Loudoun itself, the state medical examiner, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, along with 5 of its agents and 1 FBI agent. So the parents put everybody in this lawsuit. And like I said, and like my mom said, when you look at it, it's like, okay, what really happened that day? And my thing is, I brought this up to my mom maybe a couple of days ago. Kendrick was a wrestler. They were going 25 of them were going somewhere for a match or wherever they were going. Why wasn't Kendrick on that bus?
Yep. Good point. Good point.
Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe y'all in the comments, maybe we're missing something. And then looking at I feel free, add your comments, add your statements, be nice about it. But add your statements below, and then maybe we'll do a follow-up episode a bit later.
Absolutely. I think we really need to do a follow-up on this case, because the poor family, I mean, come on. I think this is just a massive cover-up from the school to the superintendent, allegedly, and it goes beyond up to the FBI. Massive cover-up.
It is.
And it's really, really awful that his family, the pain that they've already endured with losing their son, and then they cannot get justice for their son. Think about when they lost their son, and here we're talking about 2021, where the case had to be reopened. And we don't know the status of the case, so we will definitely, I think we should follow up on it. Please, if anyone knows anything that we might have missed, we've talked about this case from time to time. We revisit it and see where things are at, and we really sincerely hope that his family really get the justice that they need to bring closure to their family, because that's the worst feeling. Just like the Brittany Locklear case that Madam Truecrime did last week. You know, as a parent, you just want to have closure. You know, that's the worst feeling, and I don't wish that on anyone, especially under these circumstances. So if there's, like our channel, please provide comments, thoughts. We love to hear them.
Exactly. And another thing, I know what y'all going to ask. What about the organs? Because I heard the same thing you guys did. My mom heard the same thing you guys did about the organs being missing. So honestly, I looked through every article I've seen, CNN, no one's mentioned his organs being missing or anything, or his body being stuffed with newspaper. Could be wrong. Maybe, like I said, we all make mistakes. I might have missed something. But I didn't see anything like that. And then I know there was an article where his mom, when they reviewed the body, I think the second time, that's when they discovered his organs were missing. So, like I said, and like my mom said, please come forward with some comments.
And I will add, and this really just popped into my head. Okay, the rumor of the organs, and then what we already know allegedly may have taken place with students being involved, allegedly, superintendent based on the lawsuit that the Johnson family filed. The organs could have been a separate crime. Just food for thought. It may not have had anything to do with the crime that occurred. That could have been something separate.
That's true. That's very, very true.
Good point, Mom.
That's true, Mom. Good point. And then one more thing, and I'm going to say something, and I got this written down in my notes, something smells fishy. Because, if you see the pictures above me and my mom's head, there were some shoes that were discarded, a sweater, and a particular blood splatter were never looked at close by the authorities, which is seen above my head. There was I think blood spatter on the door or wall or something, and it was never tested for his blood. But my thing is, if the school officials knew that was blood, okay, why didn't y'all clean it up when it happened?
Right?
And it wasn't Johnson's blood, so whose blood was it that was on the wall? Just throwing that out there. I mean,
if you're doing a thorough investigation, wouldn't you think you would have tested the blood?
You would have tested everything with the shoes and
all the DNA. So much DNA.
So much. And my thing is, my mom brought up to last night. Who put shoes in a gym bag? Who put shoes in the gym bag? And if y'all can see the pictures, y'all saw the pictures, and I put more pictures in the bottom. I never played. Did I play sports? No, I never played sports.
No, you didn't.
Thanks, Mom. Thank you for confirming. Thank you, Mommy. I never played sports, and I know friends of mine who have played sports. We used to put, even in gym class, we would just put our shoes in a bag and threw it in our locker and call it a day. And my mom used to get mad at me because I would leave my gym stuff over the weekend in the locker, and Because she would always ask me on Friday or Saturday night when she was doing laundry, hey, where's your gym stuff? Oh, I left it.
Or I smelled it first.
Or she smelled it first, especially if I brought it home and it hasn't been washed in a while.
Even getting off the subject here.
I'm just making up a point. I'm just bringing up a point. That's all.
As you see, we have a lot of fun talking about, it's not fun subjects, but we do try to shed some light and some humor, especially talking about such sad circumstances.
Exactly. That's why I was bringing up in some cases, like I said with the Brittany Locklear, in this case, as a parent, well, I'm not a parent. My mom, obviously my mom's a parent, but as I guess how she feels as a parent, you want answers what happened with your child. And like I said, and I don't know if his mom ended up calling Kendrick, because when Kendrick went missing, it was 12:03. His mom did not realize he didn't come home. So I don't know if she called him. That is a good question. Did she call his cell phone? Because back then, that's when cell phones were more, or more prominent as they are today. Texting.
I think definitely it's worth. I think we definitely need to revisit and update everyone on this case, and we will do our due diligence to get an update and see where things stand. This was I think in 2021, so it's been a few years now. COVID was going on back then.
That's true.
So it might be still a case that's still open and being investigated. Delay might have been through COVID, but we will certainly revisit it. And again, if you have any comments or if you have followed the case at the time and still do, and you're junkie like ours with crime and trying to solve them, feel free, hit us up in the comments.
Exactly.
Share your thoughts.
Exactly. And also, if you guys have any cases you would like us to cover or talk about, please follow me on Instagram or follow us on Instagram, Madam Truecrime. That's my Instagram name. Madam Truecrime 1991, and I'll put it in the description box below for you guys. And just drop us a line. Just drop me what do you do on Instagram? Or message, not Messenger, that's Facebook, but just drop me.
DM us.
DM us. That's it. See, you can tell I show my age.
DM.
Okay, Mom, I see you. I see you, Mom. Yeah, DM us, and I'm gonna start a Gmail or Hotmail account where you guys can be able to email us cases. And it doesn't have to be famous cases either. It could be cases such as loved ones that went missing that didn't get media attention. You got those that happen too.
And also, now that she mentions that, just cases that don't get put in the media. There's so many cases, even if in your hometown or if you know someone or anything that is not, that has not gotten national attention. Please reach out to us. We would love to investigate and see what we can find out. We may help the authorities out in solving some of these crimes, because there's just so many of them, and we get it. It's really hard to investigate because there's just so many, and each day, I forget what the statistics are. When does a person go missing? When does a person is murdered for whatever reason? So yes, it doesn't have to be a high profile situation. Please, and
please
share your thoughts, and it was a pleasure. Thank you for adding me, and I'm really excited. We do have some cases coming up.
We do, and you just look forward to it. Look out on the Instagram is what I mean. Look out on Instagram for some stuff. I might throw up, whoever runs the Instagram page, I think it's gonna be me. But
I'm not as technical as she is. But I did know what a DM is.
Yes, Mom, you did know what a DM is. Yes, you did. And like I said, I might throw out some cases too, like some cases out there every once in a while. We may not cover it, but once in a while if y'all want to read up on it. But yeah, so let's do our toast and let's do a cheers.
Absolutely. And remember, this is Sutter Home Peach Tea Wine Cocktails. So cheers to you, cheers to us.
And see you next time to solve a murder case.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's pretty good.
Very good.
That's pretty good.
Bye, guys.